Since March this year, I can count on one hand how many tabletop games I have played, and although I'm really missing rolling dice across the table from my opponent, what I'm really missing as well is the social aspect of it, and I think I may have found a way to scratch that itch. I'm Benji and welcome to Benji's Hobbies. So for those of you like me across the UK who are currently in lockdown, playing tabletop games has become increasingly difficult, especially if you're being socially responsible. Whilst I absolutely love the hobby aspect of tabletop gaming, and it's what brought me back into tabletop gaming about 5 years ago, what has kept me in tabletop gaming is the social interaction that comes along with it. Be that playing against strangers at tournaments or against friends at my local gaming centre. The ongoing situation this year has meant that I've not been to any tournaments and I have very rarely visited my local gaming centre, and that means that I've literally played a handful of games. I tried playing Tabletop Simulator on Steam during the first lockdown, but it really wasn't for me. I just couldn't get into it as it really didn't have the same feel as playing against a real opponent face to face. I'd all but given up on playing any online games and resigned myself to the fact that I would more than likely just have to wait until everything is back to some sort of normality again before I could roll any dice. That was until I started seeing adverts for a new role-playing game, Shiver, which started popping up on my Facebook timeline. I've not really had much experience in playing role-playing games, having only played once before in my life, but this one really piqued my interest. I just want to point out at this stage that this video is not sponsored by Shiver. I'm not associated with them in any way, I am just giving you my completely, utter, honest opinion on it. If you're new to role-playing games like me, they're broadly split down into 3 different steps. Step 1. The director or games master describes the environment that the players are in. This includes the setting, the location, anything that the players might see. They basically build the imaginary world around you. Step 2. The players describe how they want to proceed. This could be where they are headed, exploring a locked door, examining an object, or talking to someone in the room. And finally, Step 3. The director describes the results of those actions, what they see, what they find, and from here the story develops and grows. The setting of Shiver is one that really appeals to me, bringing tales of the mysterious, the peculiar, and the strange to life, whilst taking its inspiration from horror, classic cult films and pulp TV shows such as Stranger Things, Jurassic Park, Aliens, and The X-Files, some of my all-time favourite films and TV shows. Essentially, Shiver allows you to build your own cult classic. What's more, a friend of mine, Dan Entwistle, a role-playing game aficionado, was running a series of one-shot demo games online to anyone who was interested, so it felt like an awesome opportunity to give it a go, and I'm so glad I did. To join, I needed a very limited list of stuff. A connection to a Discord server and access to an internet browser was enough to let me join in. There are also 2 tools which the creators of the game have made available to make playing online even easier. One is a dice rolling app which features the Shiver symbols, more on those shortly, and the other was a PDF interactive character sheet that could be filled in with all the character details and allow you to add extra notes as the game progresses. So last Friday night, armed with drinks and snacks, I settled myself in front of my PC for a game of Shiver. Now, I had no idea what to expect at this point. I've played a game of Dungeons & Dragons once before in my life, but it's all still pretty alien to me. Other than Dan, who is playing as the director, Shiver's equivalent of a dungeon or games master, I only knew one other player, so it did feel a bit daunting at first talking to a set of strangers online, but the super friendly atmosphere definitely put me at ease. In our game, I played as Annie, a conspiracy theorist with a fear of heights, who was given the Maverick archetype. In Shiver, there are 7 different archetypes that each have different strengths which relate to their 6 core skills. The core skills determine how successful certain actions you take might be. A character with high wit, like Annie the Maverick for example, will be better at picking locks, sneaking and fighting at range, whilst a warrior archetype with high grit will be better at anything athletic or requiring brute force. Each of the core skills, which are represented by the cool, unique icons, are on the face of a die, so when dice are rolled you can easily see how many were successful as they relate to your skill. The storyline we played is called Corporate Risers, and full details can be found in the Quick Start Guide, which is currently available to download from the Shiver Kickstarter website. This scenario follows a bunch of low-level misfit employees who work in the corporate hell of the Hollow. I don't want to ruin it for you if you decide to play it yourself, but it very much had a Resident Evil feel to it, another franchise I absolutely love, so that was another big tick in the box for me. One mechanic I really liked from the game was the inclusion of the Doom Clock. The Doom Clock is represented by an analog clock that ticks forward whenever a player fails a check, and rolls a strange symbol on their dice. If the Doom Clock ticks forward far enough, then something strange, unusual, or hellish happens. It's a really exciting feature which really adds to the intensity of the game, as the hand ticks slowly forward as the game progresses. Our session came to a really exciting conclusion about 4 or 5 hours into playing, and whilst I really don't want to spoil the story for those of you who are interested in playing, I can assure you that it was well worth playing through. My character managed to survive the hellish ordeal, but some of the other players weren't so lucky. So what did I learn from my first session playing Shiver? It very much felt like there was a difference in experience levels between myself and the other players. Some of them just got really into character by adding little character quirks, some amazing Australian accents, and some fictional family backstories. I, on the other hand, possibly due to feeling a little self-conscious, didn't roleplay my character as much as I could have. In hindsight, I wish I'd done a little bit more prep and fleshed my character out a bit before the game, rather than going in blind. I think I would have had a little more confidence to roleplay a bit more if it had come up with a bit more of a backstory for my character. I also played the game perhaps a little too linearly. I was a little focused on getting from point A to point B and playing it as I think I would react in the situation rather than how my character would. And rather than just enjoying the surroundings and the experience as much as I could have, I felt like I was trying to push the game forward to a conclusion. I think I'd definitely play a little bit differently in my next game. Overall, I really enjoyed the whole experience. Dan's direction through the Hollow and my first game of Shiver was a fantastic introduction to role-playing games. I'm really keen to play some more, and I'd really like to direct my own game at some stage, but I think I need a few more games under my belt before I'd have the confidence to attempt it. What I really loved about this experience though was the fact that although I wasn't physically across the table playing with anyone, I felt like I was still scratching that social gaming itch because I was interacting and playing with real people. I've already pledged to support the Shiver Kickstarter, and I can't wait to get hold of my hardback copy next year. And if, like me, you're keen to check out the full version of the rules when they're released, why not head over to the Kickstarter page for full details? You'll find the link in the description below. Lastly, I want to say a big thanks to Dan and all the other players in the game as well. It was a really great introduction to role-playing game, and thank you for being so patient with me as I played. As always, thanks for watching. Go and check out all the links in the description below. You'll find the Kickstarter there, you'll find the links to all my channel stuff there, and I hope to see you guys in the next video. See you later.